Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV. We're here for the Arsenal-Liverpool preview for the game on Saturday at the Emirates Stadium. I've got the 1982 Reds podcast. I've got Ricky and Luke here with us. How are you guys all doing?
Yeah, all good, Stephen. Thanks for getting us both on. Absolute pleasure. Looking forward to talking about the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, and yourself, Ricky?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks for having me on. Pleasure.
No worries. Anytime. And yeah, hopefully everyone in the comments do smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. First off, I say maybe we start off with Liverpool to start with, because I think things weren't great before the international break. And do you see that the international break could be sort of a way to just sort of let Klopp reset and a way of just sort of go back to basics and start from scratch and to try and push on for the top four for the remainder of the season?
I think so. I mean, obviously, as we all know, we've not had the greatest of seasons. We've had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of obviously problems in our areas of the pitch. But yeah, I do think it come at the right time for us. We didn't really sort of play well against Wolves before the international break. We've obviously been doing all right in the Champions League. Like, it's one of them things now where if we're still in the top four race, we obviously have to win this game at the weekend. If not, probably Klopp does have to sort of throw his eggs in the basket for the Champions League. Obviously with Real Madrid coming up. But yeah, I do think, fortunately for us, we've had no injuries through the international break, which is a good thing for us. But it's such a massive game at the weekend, especially as I mentioned before, with Real Madrid around the corner. It's not the best game to play, preparing for that. But obviously, we'll take this game. We'll take this game as it goes ahead.
Yeah. Just before I ask you, Ricky, the same question, that all the socials should be in the video description. I'll just double check it. But yeah, all the socials, including their YouTube channel link, is in the description. So go and subscribe to them now. So they're doing great stuff over there. Ricky, same question to you with Liverpool at the minute.
Yeah, it's probably not the game you want before Real Madrid away. The game at the Emirates. We ain't got the best history there. I think we've only won twice since you've had that stadium. So yeah. This game could either go one or two ways, depending what team Klopp puts out. I think if Klopp's more interested in the Champions League, I think you might see an Arsenal win. With a sort of easier game than what Arsenal were going to expect. But if we put a full team out, Klopp's best team, it could be an interesting game.
Yeah, absolutely. I would actually, because you mentioned about obviously with Real Madrid and the Champions League coming up afterwards. Do you feel that what's the difference? Because in the Champions League, you look like a team that's well coordinated, right, doing well, scoring goals, winning games. But when it comes to the Premier League, it's like the Premier League teams have found you out, but Europe hasn't. And I just wanted to see what your thoughts on the difference between the Champions League and the Premier League.
See, I don't think it's that teams are.
Because I'm still struggling with the Champions League, so I ain't seen it in so many years. So.
I think it's not even that. It's the Liverpool players now know they can't win the league. They potentially still feel they can get top four, so they're not putting in that 200% effort in the league to bury teams like we have in the past. I think they're going all out for the Champions League. The league game, they don't want to get injured in. So they're not putting their foot on the gas totally in them games, and we're just getting other teams coming up against us. Like it's like a cup final for all these other teams when they play us. And where we're not taking it as serious because we can't win the league, other teams are just beating us in a minute.
But I think also you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because the Champions League is also a massive thing to win. I mean, I say that because I've never seen it. Like, I was a kid when I got to a final and I was heartbroken. Yeah, obviously winning the Champions League is a major thing, and that's why Liverpool are probably one of the best in Europe, because they've won it 6 times, which is an extraordinary achievement. But I would say also is that I think you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket in the Champions League because of how you got the likes of Bayern, PSG, and all that to play still. I mean, I've probably forgotten what the route is now for you guys because I know the route's already been decided.
Yeah, we've
And
got.
I did do a live stream, and I keep forgetting because my
We've
memory's
got. Fortunately enough, I mean, Real Madrid will be difficult, but seeing the news of Ramos being injured, it's not an April Fool, which is good news for us. It's kind of, I mean, Real Madrid ain't the best of teams, and as you mentioned before, like in Europe, we're just totally a different side compared to what we are domestically. And obviously in the semi-finals, it looks like it'll be Porto or Chelsea. So Chelsea will obviously be difficult for us, but as you mentioned before, like, and I agree with you, in Europe, I'd say in Champions League competition, we are definitely the most feared English side out of anyone. I mean, I know Manchester City will be up there this season, but they've got Dortmund coming up, then potentially Bayern or PSG in the semi-final. It'll be difficult for them. If they get past that, then of course they'll be favourites to win it. But for me, like over the last sort of 15, 20 years, I've been watching Liverpool in top champion, like European football. We're definitely probably the best English or the worst English team to play against. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult, but it's Liverpool. We know not many people usually rule Liverpool out in sort of European football.
I mean, even 2005, you were struggling for top four then, but you still managed to come back from. I remember that night 3-0. You managed to come back and win that Champions League final. I think also just on reflection, like with top four still up to grabs. I think you want to try and get in the top four to make sure. So say if you're in the final and you have got top four like we did in 2006, you've got that assurance that if you do lose the final, you're still in the Champions League. Where you got top four on that last day, luckily, and it was good because it was the last day at Highbury as well. But we also had the Champions League final, and you could see we were so good for once in the European tournament, but in the domestic league we were struggling. Even in the cups we were struggling, but in Europe we were managing to brush teams aside. We didn't exactly play hard teams. We played Real Madrid, the first English team to win at the Bernabeu. We played Juventus, where Vieira and Fabregas were compared to each other. And then you've got Villarreal, who are no slouches anyway. And so, yeah, it's definitely... I can see sort of similarities in the season that you're having compared to ours when we had that success into 2006. But with Liverpool, you don't write them off in the Champions League. I think the one where you won in last 2 years ago, you were so far down against Barcelona and you still managed to grab it back. And I remember watching that game and I thought, bloody hell, I wish if only Arsenal could do that. But yeah, so what would you say in terms of what Klopp would do towards this game? Because Arteta has had some success against Liverpool, mainly because he's been very defensive, but he has been able to. I'd say he's won one game because the others have been draws, and the Community Shield doesn't count. I don't count the Community Shield, right? Some Arsenal fans like to Community as a trophy. I don't. I'm not that. I had never come out as a trophy when we were winning titles, so I'm not considering it. But what I will say is that what do you feel Klopp needs to do something different to make sure that Arteta doesn't find him out again?
Probably. I mean, the last. I think if you include that Community Shield game, I mean, I know it's pre-season. There wasn't too much sort of we could talk about them, but I don't think there's much that Klopp needs to do differently. I do think the tactics were there, but there's been a lot of times we've played Arsenal recently at the Emirates where we've just not been able to take our chances. I mean, last season, Arsenal probably played us at the best time considering we'd already just won the league. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, we just didn't get out. We just wanted the season to end. We just wanted to lift the trophy. That's all we cared about when we'd obviously won the league. You know, there's been a couple of games recently where, I mean, I was at the Arsenal Liverpool game with my brother. My brother's an Arsenal fan. We was at the Arsenal Liverpool where it was a 3-3 draw, and Liverpool were 2-0 up, and Arsenal came back 3-2, and there was a late goal from Firmino. But it's just games like that as well. I know that's pre-Arteta, but I just think there's times where Liverpool have always had the formation correct, they've always had the tactics right, and they've just not been able to take their chances. So it's going to be it's going to be something interesting to see what Jurgen Klopp does if he plays players in their rightful positions, like Fabinho continues in that defensive midfield. It looks like, hopefully for us, it will be Phillips and Kabak for the rest of the season at centre back if they stay fit.
That's going to be a problem for you this season. That really hasn't. Yeah,
it really has, and it's. I mean, I know a lot of teams have their injuries, of course. Like everyone has them. I mean, for years, Arsenal have had so many massive injuries in their team.
Partey had a clean bit of health before he turned up at Arsenal, and now all of a sudden he's got 2 injuries. And and this is the problem. And this is the problem I have with Arteta, right? Is that you've got players that are fit, and you don't play them. And you play the players that aren't fit and are half fit. And Partey's better than our. That's how bad our midfield is. Partey's half fit, but he's still better. But I'm sorry, if he's not fit enough, don't, because all you're doing is making it worse. And then when it comes to players like Willian, yes, Willian's picked up form, but for the games he had no form whatsoever, Martinelli's fresh fit on the bench. Why are you not playing him? I don't, and it winds me up to no end because I don't like to see, as much as I'm an Arsenal fan, I want Martinelli at my club. I really do. He's such a talent. And I think any big team will take him right now. But he's not going to get that offering from a big club if Arteta keeps doing what he's doing, which is benching him. You're saying he's fit enough. He's doing everything in training. So why are you benching him when you've got players that on the pitch are not as good? I do not get it. It's just, and it's like he's also shifting the team around to make sure he doesn't start. It's like we're getting a choice that we think, he's got to start now. He's rotated the squad. He's got to be able to start now. And then he picks him, and then he rotates the squad and doesn't make sure he doesn't get included by playing Smith on the left or something. And I'm like, has this kid done something to you wrong? Or like, have you got a person? Are you lot got beef between each other? I mean, I don't get it. It winds me up to no end. But I will ask actually something with Ronaldo, because someone just mentioned about Ronaldo, and there's been a sort of split opinion, I think.
You'll find a split opinion with us, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it then. Let's go.
I mean, personally, for me, with Wijnaldum, I think the 4 or 5 years he's been at Liverpool, he's been a very good servant. He's obviously
Arsenal, though. To be honest,
I'll take
him to Arsenal in a minute.
I think to be honest, I think there's going to be a lot of clubs in the summer if he doesn't decide to sign an extension to his contract. If he doesn't go abroad, I do think there'll be a lot of Premier League clubs that'll be after him, and I think Arsenal definitely be one of those clubs. I do believe that over the 4 or 5 years he's been at Liverpool, he has been a good player for us. I do think this season, it's been sort of well more known this season he's not contributed as much as he should. I see something earlier today. Rick would probably agree with me on this one. Is we have heavily relied in the last couple of seasons on our strikers to dig us out of trouble. We haven't. I think it was like 85% of our goals have come from our attacking players, which is it's an attacking player's job to do. But sometimes you need your midfielders to step forward. You need your midfielders to create chances and to score goals. And we feel that Wijnaldum has that quality. We do feel that we do know he likes to sit back and defend, and break up play. But we know whilst he plays for Holland, he can obviously get into them number 8 or 10 positions and create and score goals. We haven't seen that this season, in a time where even when we had the defensive problems, like, throughout sort of January to March, we had problems scoring, and that's the likes of Wijnaldum possibly getting involved more. And we just haven't seen it. So, I mean, Rick has a different idea towards Wijnaldum. I'll let him take it on there.
Just before I ask you, Ricky, just want to give a good shout out to Tubes. He's watching in the Philippines right now, and it's 11:15 over there at night. So big up to you for tuning in at that late time. It really does mean a lot, and it means a lot to myself and the charity that this channel's for. As I explained to you guys, we are raising awareness and money for Children's Liver Disease Foundation. I've had 6 liver transplants myself and still having my health problems at the minute, but we're trying the best we can to make sure other kids don't suffer the same sort of fate in a sense. Thanks. That's why I'm so honoured to anyone coming on and showing support for the channel. But yeah, Ricky, your opinion on Wijnaldum then. So let's hear it.
So Wijnaldum served his purpose. It's time to go. He needs to let the club know whether he's signing a contract or not. If he's not, he needs to go. There's talk of him wanting Van Dijk money. He's not that level of football player. The only reason why a lot of Liverpool fans love Gini Wijnaldum is because he scored important goals in certain games, Barcelona and the Man Cities. He don't get injured a lot. That's why a lot of Liverpool fans love him. But when you haven't assisted or scored, I think he hasn't assisted in 3 years, and that's your centre midfield player. When you're going for a tough run, when your strikers ain't hitting form, you've got Gini Wijnaldum who's not plugging in with anything. So yeah, I do think his time's up. I'd like to see him. If he signed a new contract, it needs to be a reasonable contract, not what he's demanding, but he's not that level. So yeah, I don't rate Gini Wijnaldum, but I get criticised for not knowing what he does in the game of football. But not everyone that I speak to can't tell me what he does anyway. So yeah, I'm not a fan of him.
Yeah, I think if we carry on, we probably might end up in a debate about. I mean, Wijnaldum, I think is it's more like I find with sort of Fred. To be honest, is that I'm not comparing it directly to, but it's like a similar thing that no one seems to really know what he does. I think he's more just maybe sort of the engine that works inside the midfield. I don't watch Liverpool that much, so I wouldn't actually know fully. But I from what I can see is like he's more of he will put a shift in the midfield. But I could be completely wrong on that. But I will actually. Someone just mentioned Tubes is Percival is a physician, so the Liver Awareness Show. I've just actually put in the chat. If you DM me, we can help you. You can come and help out with the Liver Awareness Show because we're always trying to look for a doctor to. Because the thing with the Liver Awareness Show is they know about liver as well. Like the doctors get to learn something as well because they're not. Everyone is not going to ever know everything. So, but someone mentioned about Thiago. He mentioned about Thiago. I can't remember where. There it is. There. Yeah, I'm a Bayern Munich fan, and we hold Thiago in such high regard. What are your thoughts as Liverpool fans?
Hasn't really had a chance, Rick, has he? I think. Well, obviously now you're seeing Thiago getting into the team. Started obviously Champions League against Leipzig. He played pretty well over the 2 games, but I mean he had that massive injury against Everton. I see something a few months back regarding Thiago when he plays in the position he wants to play. They said only I think it's Alisson, Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho have all been in the same team once this season, and that was I think it was away at Everton before Thiago got that long injury. I'm not really going to judge him at the moment. As much as a great player he is and what he was at Bayern, I think next season, Thiago, you will see the much more better of him. I think what he does with the football is just like, you could probably he'd probably find space in a single bed with Gemma Collins. Like, that's just how sort of, that's how for me, that's just the qualities that Thiago has.
Is that your fantasy league, is it?
You never know.
I've already made some analogies that's got a real joke talking about Arteta and what the Champions League 3 years quote. I'm not going to mention it again because it'll just spark it off on the chat again, and they know it. People in the chat will know who I'm talking about, so I'm leaving it at that. So, but I can't remember what I was going to ask. Is that Thiago for me is that when you see these new players come in like Thiago, Werner, Havertz, people are so quick to judge, and I think it's that you need, unless he's an absolute baller and gets off running like that, then great. But I feel with some players, they need, like, I remember Perez turned up at the club at Arsenal, and in his first season was appalling. And even Henri took back 9 games to score a goal. So did Bergkamp. If we'd made a judgment after 3 games, right, Bergkamp and Henri would be the legends they were, really, because we were handing them out the club. So people are so quick to judge, and I think next season is where you can judge him and say if he's not good enough, right? But at the moment, I do feel he just needs that season to bed himself in. And don't forget, Liverpool, since you've had your injuries, you've not been performing to the levels I think the front three is very stale and needs refreshing. Because every time you put Jota in there, I do feel there's a bit more sort of like fresh air that's been brought into that front three. So I don't know who would you think you might want to get rid of out of those front three and refresh it?
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
I think Bobby Firmino goes first. I think there's talk of him with Atletico Madrid in the summer. So if he goes, because apparently we're looking for a proper number 9 in the summer, so I do think Firmino will be the first one to go.
Yeah, Luke, what would you think?
I think Firmino, as Ricky said, I think he would be the person that I love Roberto Firmino. I love what he's done for Liverpool, but we desperately need a centre forward in the summer. I wouldn't like Salah or Mane to leave right now. There is a lot of talks with Salah in the summer. I think Salah stays for another year at least.
He's still your top goal scorer.
Yeah, and it's
is he the Premier League top scorer?
So? Yeah, I think he's a goal in front. I think he's a goal in front. I think it's Kane or maybe someone else. But it's staggering how bad of a season we've had, and he's still the top goal scorer in the league. So it goes.
We started with Aubameyang last year. Look how appalling we were. We finished 8th, and yet he was 1 goal away from Vardy.
Yeah,
and the season before he was equals with Mane and Salah, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't like to see one of those two leave. I think Mane does more contributing towards the team. Like, he does a bit more defensive work than Salah. But I mean, if one of the 3 had to leave, I would probably say Firmino, and then bringing in a centre forward. Like, if we could ever get Haaland, for example, but we all have our dreams, So.
Yeah. That's a great comment, but just leave the Albanian part out. Yeah, let's just go. I'll just go through some of this, but don't forget the confidence in. Virgil van Dijk as well. There's a massive blow at the start of the season, and it's also it's after that it was offside. It was offside. You've had this new offside rule where you can't raise the flag until the moment's happened because of VAR. And
if that's Man United, it's a penalty.
Well, yeah, but not just that as well. Is that it's not just that. I think it's that it didn't need to happen because he was already offside. If you get what I mean. So the play should have been stopped before he even was tackled by Pickford.
He wasn't even offside.
Yeah,
he wasn't even offside. Looking at the still images, he was onside.
Well, yeah.
Wrong.
I just think that there's a lot of Premier League grounds where you have different angles.
I mean, like Patricio, I think Patricio was offside. I think it was offside, and he caught it right in the head. So, yeah. I don't know what your thoughts with the offside rule on that one.
I mean, just where do you start? I mean, we could be here for hours, mate.
Or Wenger's new option of the new offside rule. God.
Who's letting Wenger talk football rules?
Should have stayed in the Arsenal job.
No.
He's suspended. I didn't see it. Never seen anything when he was a manager, but now he's seeing everything from watching football again.
Do you know what? I give him the respect. There's that some of this side is if we keep hearing this side, most of this side is Wenger's side. I give him the respect. He managed to try and keep us in 5th or 6th, but I got rid of the manager because he was only making top 4. When he was only making top 4, I wanted him out. Right? Even when we were challenging for the league in 2016, I wanted him out because I knew he wasn't good enough anymore. He wasn't the same kid. He wasn't the same manager anymore. It's been found out. He's not great. And if I'm getting rid of a manager who's only going to make top 4, why would then I want to support a manager who's not even barely getting into the top 10 with no trophy and with only one trophy. Yes, he might have won the FA Cup. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But you've got worse. Everyone's got worse. Aubameyang is worse. Lacazette is worse. Pepe is okay, but Xhaka's still doing the same thing. Bellerin's still doing the same thing. Holding is, and some of these players that keep making the same mistakes and still have the same problems, you're still backing, right? You back Xhaka. It's all over the papers. You backed him, so you're not going to sell him. He'll stay here for another season, right? Because he's still. And if you're believing that these players are good enough, what makes you think I'm going to give? Though we've got to pay 120 million pound back to the government, which makes us say we ain't got money anyway. But you've now got to sit there and say you're going to spend money on players that you can't even work out are good or not. It doesn't. It just anything that they at the minute is just if you take it aside and look at it, it doesn't make sense. And that's why I don't feel that Arteta is the man, because you could get Rafa Benitez in, and he will improve that side. Rafa Benitez won you a Champions League with a side that was finishing top 4. So I know he will get a better sick tune out of those players. Those players do not deserve to be 10th. So where does it go? It all boils down to the manager, how he sets them up, how he plays them, how we break down low teams, how we defend as a unit. Right? In the end, it's the manager training them on the pitch. It's not the players playing themselves. But this just feels that sometimes when Arteta, it's always the time is when Arteta wins, it's always Arteta. Oh, it's brilliant. It's a masterclass. Right? Even the comeback, what a comeback. But when we're 3-0 down, it's all the players' fault. There's no consistency.
I do believe.
What is your side on it?
I think Arsenal fans are a bit living in the past, not in a bad way, but you were very successful in the
to keep up, to bear with the depression, mate.
Yeah, like,
it reminds us a little like of us a little bit like back before, probably Benitez won the Champions. Well, Benitez won the Champions League. Then we had that era of, the great Roy Hodgson, and we had the bringing back the past of Dalglish just to keep the ship going a little bit. But I think
it's not even that. Let's be honest, Arsenal are not a top 4 team no more.
No.
And I think a lot of Arsenal fans out there believe
not even top 6.
They are.
They're not even top 6 in a minute. They're a team. I don't even see them as are they top 8? Are they top 6? Are they top 4? No, they're a team that are whatever level that makes them profit. If they get money out of any season, they're happy to stick where they are. I bet if we got relegated to a championship and they still made money, they wouldn't care.
I mean, with all the fans in the ground, I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Arsenal make the most money on any match day, like out of any Premier League team. It's around 3 million, something around that target. I mean, Arsenal are a business like now, and they're not like, don't get me wrong, when we play away from home against Arsenal, of course, like it's always going to be a tough game. Like we've always struggled against Arsenal, but obviously at home, like I'm always confident we can win any game. But I just look at Arsenal now and I think, where was this, this beast of a team, like this unbeaten team, from 2004, or 2003-04? Where's this team that got to a Champions League final, sort of knocking on the door for them sort of big European titles and, sort of always challenging domestically? Now it's like, after every couple of years, we'll give the manager a chance now. Oh, he's won an FA Cup, we'll keep him there. And obviously, I know that was Wenger. Arteta won the FA Cup quite well in a season. But to be honest, I don't, as Ricky said, I don't really see Arsenal as that team that are going to really sort of push on and sort of challenge for leagues and challenge sort of getting into that top 4 year in, year out now. So something needs to change there for me for next season.
Got Bargav, my Arsenal fan in the building. How's usually late as usual, but yeah, how are you, Bargav? Is he there? Oh, he's in. Oh, that's what his internet's died.
Yeah,
He's
good
in-
afternoon, guys. Internet.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. How you doing today? So yeah, as far as the game goes, like
I think that's going.
for me,
Yeah.
usually I'm like scared. Usually I'm scared going playing like Liverpool. Absolutely. I mean, the last couple of times I'm like, it's like a full blown like 90 minutes. You guys controlling the ball, and basically we're struggling to get the ball usually. And then this is the one time I think I feel like a little bit more confident, like going into the game. So I think it's gonna be a little closer this time. Would you guys agree?
Maybe. I mean, do you know what? I think, as I mentioned before, I think going to Arsenal has not always been the best of hunting grounds for us. Last season, you know, we were still half drunk from winning the league, but it's you know, it is much more of a tighter game. It's only 4 points in the league. Like, yeah, I think you're 4 points behind us. Obviously, closing the gap to us will be good for you guys if you get a result. But
Told me that at the start of the season, I would have said, "Oh,
Yeah, like-
absolutely, I'll take it." But I didn't expect it to be because it's out of the top four.
but do you know what? I mean, I did expect Arsenal to do a bit better this season, maybe, but obviously it's not sort of worked out for them. How you guys want it, but it's a massive game for us, and I do agree with you. It's going to be quite a tight game because it's one of those where have we got still top four in mind? Can we get into that top four position, or are we sort of fully focused on that two-legged tie against Real Madrid? So it's going to be an interesting team selection for Jurgen Klopp tomorrow. And I'm expecting both teams to score. Always Liverpool, Arsenal, both teams always score. So
it's always been a very high-scoring game, actually. It always has been. But I'm just going to ask this question, Chris, because I think it's a good one. For both, who would you take from Liverpool, Stephen, to improve Arsenal? You can only choose one. Luke, Ricky, who would you take from Arsenal to improve Liverpool? Shaka.
To be honest, there won't be one Arsenal player that I've taken that Liverpool team.
Saka?
Yeah, so we were looking at him when he was negotiating with Arsenal for his new contract because he was out of contract in the summer. He would have been one I would have liked to take him on a free. Obviously, he's a London boy, so he's not gonna. He signed a new deal. He got what he wanted from Arsenal. I do believe he moves in the next couple of years, though, if Arsenal don't start to improve, pick up more trophies, get Champions League football. I think he'd be one that a lot of teams would be interested in.
Yeah, Luke, what did you say?
I mean, if he was still in the prime form and age wasn't on his side, of course, Aubameyang all day long. But obviously, he is coming to sort of near the end of his his sort of later years. Obviously, I think the only probably other player, but we probably wouldn't need him, would probably be Tierney. But I don't think it's something that we obviously need. We've got the better left back for me at the moment. So yeah, I'll probably say those two. Unfortunately, Granit Xhaka doesn't get on my list, unfortunately. So I think we got one of those in one, Alden, Rick, if you'd agree with me on that. But yeah, I'll probably say those two. I think Tierney and Aubameyang.
The person I would take from Liverpool.
Got to be Van Dijk, surely.
Yeah, it's got to be. I need someone in that defense alongside Gabriel. So that VVD would go for me.
Fabinho would be good too. I think Fabinho would be kind of nice.
Fabinho would be a good midfielder next to Partey, I would actually say. But I think for defensively, if we're supposed to have a better defensive structure, right? Right, we need. I think we need someone like Virgil van Dijk next to Gabriel. And Tubes agrees. Holy smokes, that would be very scary. I won't bet on it, but I think Gabriel is again. It's another. It's good. Been a good season, a decent one. There's been a few mistakes. He's had COVID. I think he's had COVID as well, but he's had a decent season compared to I can't compare it to Arsenal's defense because Arsenal's defense is shambolic. But yeah. So tactically, do you see though with what do you see Arsenal doing tactically from your point of view?
I see Arsenal trying to dominate the ball in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. Even if they don't get any joy in that 15, 20 minutes, I think you'll start to sit back, let Liverpool come on to you. You'll try and counter us with your pace. Like I said at the start, I do think the game will go either two ways depending what team we put out. If we go fully strength, I do believe we win this game quite easily in a way. But if we do make a lot of changes, then it will give Arsenal confidence going forward.
Absolutely, Luke. What would you think? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, pretty similar. I think Arsenal, you're at home, so I'm guessing, as Ricky said, sort of first part of the game, you're going to be sort of coming at us a little bit. It's going to be interesting how you sort of play Aubameyang. Are you going to put him up front because of Phillips and Kabak ain't the quickest of defenders? So are you going to put Aubameyang through the middle, where you're going to stick him out on the left? But I agree with what Ricky says. I think first 15, 20 minutes is so crucial for Arsenal in this game. I do expect Liverpool then to get a foothold in the game, but I mean, we just don't know what team's going to go out tomorrow. If we go full strength, I think we win this game. If we don't, expect there to be a lot of goals. I'd say that.
Yeah. Bargav, what do you think, mate?
I mean, we're predictable. I mean, it's 4-2-3-1. Odegaard in the middle. Saka's probably on the right, and then subs are gonna come as usual. For Liverpool, I think it depends. It does depend. Like we have two. We have like
Whoa, you didn't.
Hyde. Like Jeff and Hyde. I mean, the West Ham was a perfect.
Bargav, your internet's a bit. You're sounding like a robot, mate.
All right, I'll be right back then. Like, let me go in and out.
Oh, okay. I think Arsenal, though, I don't see Arsenal dominating the ball, to be honest. I just feel that I think we'll do our usual trying to feel our way into the game. Maybe that would be just like not being very passive aggressive, not really pressing high. But then there's the problem is one times we do that and we're like absolutely brilliant, absolutely balling, like pressing, like we did against Tottenham, for example. But then when we play against West Ham, we're leaving loads of space, really open, very sloppy. And that's where the confusion is. The lineup's always the same, really, just different. The tactics are the same. The lineup in the actual players are just swapped around. And that's been like that since even when we were 16th. And that is what really wound me up as well, is that we were 16th and he's still not trying to even change it back to the way it was, because he's switched it from a 3-4-3 to a 4-2-3-1. And the 3-4-3 won him an FA Cup and he was doing better with it. So, but yeah, I still feel like we're going to be, I think Liverpool will probably still dominate the ball, to be honest. And I still feel that we'll be just trying to hit them on the counter. It also depends how much space we give you and how much respect that Arteta shows. Because I mean, I think when we played Man City, it was sort of the same. We could have easily been 5 or 6 down if they really, really wanted to kill us. But we just didn't put a performance in at all. We just sort of turned up knowing that probably we were going to lose. But then when you got a manager saying that we're 100% think we're expecting to lose, or players saying expecting to lose, what do you expect? They're not going to have that mindset of actually, we can actually try and get something out of this game. So it's what winds me up a lot about us. It's so inconsistent. How many times we've had a chances to try and get up the table this season and actually start being in the top 4 race. We've had loads when teams are faltered before we play, and yet we don't capitalise at all. It's like if Tottenham are going to lose, we know we're going to lose. If they draw, we know we're going to draw, and it's the same. It's the same. We never seem to break. It's like 10th is our or 9th is our barrier, and we can't go any higher. So
it's a funny one with Arsenal though. You can see they've got the players to potentially go further up in the league, but I think Aubameyang signed that new deal, and he ain't been the same player since he was before it. I think he played for a contract and got one. He got what he demanded, and now he's sort of gone back to the party, trying to do the party lifestyle. You see him turn up late for training, turn up late. He got dropped in the Tottenham game for turning up late. And there was a video the other day, all the players are in their training kit, ready to start training, and Aubameyang just rocked up in his jeans and t-shirt and his jewelry on. It's like, that's your captain. You're not going to improve if your captain's turning up a lot later than what the other players are.
Yeah, I feel that it's just it's just so frustrating. It really is. And will we sort of invest in the summer and try and improve it? I would like to say yes, but I do see other teams just doing the same thing, especially with I mean, I also want to get your thoughts on FFP as well. So we know FFP had been scrapped. It was never enforced in the first place. Let's be honest. So what do you think that'll benefit Liverpool in the long run?
Well, with this new investment, hopefully in the next year or two, it probably, it could sort of help us out a little bit. I mean, I'm going to put it out there. Manchester City killed financial fair play with their not being banned in the Champions League for what they've done twice. It was just never, ever going to continually being able to happen. Something had to be done. But I do think, as I mentioned earlier, I think with this new investment coming in, hopefully in the next couple of seasons, you might see Liverpool maybe spending a bit more money. But there's a lot to be taken on where we're trying to reconstruct, do a bit more with our Anfield Road stand. They announced, I think it was about over 100 million in the losses on revenue because of COVID. It's going to be difficult, of course, because you've got powerhouses like Manchester City, you've got Chelsea, Man United, of course, they've got, sort of a bit more transfer kitty money. But hopefully, we've seen how we've operated in the last 5 seasons. I can't really complain with, we've signed some big players like Van Dijk, Alisson, Salah, Mane. But it is frustrating sometimes when you don't really want to spend that extra bit of money to get a superstar like an Mbappe or a Haaland, for example, because let's be real, they're going to be available, if not this summer, the summer after. And it's just crucial that Liverpool get in those top 4 spaces in Champions League so we can still attract those players. So hopefully with this new investment, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see with Arsenal now the reins are off, and they shouldn't have now any excuses to spend money and sort of splash the cash in a bit. Despite saying about the loan we've got to pay back, they should. There's enough reserves to pay that, and they should have enough to, without FFP, to be able to go. Oh yeah, if we want, we ain't getting top players. Let's be honest, we're not going to get the people might think that because it's off, we're going to get likes of Jack Grealish. We're not getting Jack Grealish. Just get that for a start, right? Why would he want the rest us when he can get the same thing at Aston Villa, his boyhood club, right? And he's probably going to end up getting offers from Champions League, Man United, rather than Arsenal in the Conference League, because where we're at the minute, we'll be in the Conference League next season, which is just embarrassing. And it's really just, it sort of sums it up how embarrassing it is. So, I've got I'll put it wrong. I put it the wrong way around. I do apologize.
Even when we first started, we've been doing this podcast for about 6 months now, Rick. And even when we first started, when we was doing recordings before we went live, we were going, and it's the 19. Oh, we have to do it again. I think we went through about 20 minutes of recording 1892. And now
Yeah.
it's just in the head now a little bit. So yeah, it's all good.
It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I even mess it up at times as well. When I try and say, like when it says 1886, not 1996, but I sometimes get that wrong.
That's the year Chelsea were founded, right? 1996.
Ouch.
No, Chelsea were funded in 2004.
That was right. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
No worries,
wonder.
Daniel. No worries, Daniel. I can completely understand. You're not in a position to come on at the moment. It's obviously a difficult time. It's a very difficult time in a minute. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Yeah. So who would you like to see in the who would you like to see start for Liverpool? We'll start with Ricky.
Me personally, I'd like to see. I don't want to lose the game bad, but I also don't want certain players to play because of the Real Madrid game. Like, I don't want the likes of Salah, Mane, Fabinho, them sort of players. I don't want them to start, but Klopp will play them just to get a bit of fitness. I think I'd like to see Bobby Firmino's back in training, so I'd like to see him play ahead of Jota. Just save Jota for Real Madrid. I think Mane needs to try and get a bit of form before the international break. Mane hasn't been the best player this season. He was one of our best players last season. He sort of dropped off in form this year. I think Salah will play because Salah wants top goal scorer this season, so he'll play, but I don't want him to. I think we can see a mixture of the first team and a few fringe players coming.
Yeah. Luke, what would be the lineup that you would go for?
If I had to pick one now, I'd like them to go full strength. So pretty similar to what we've been playing in Champions League, really. Fabinho in midfield. I'd say a front three. I'd probably have Firmino on the bench just because he's been out last few games. But I think with Jota playing a lot of international football, it might not be a surprise where he may be put on the bench at the weekend. So I expect Salah and Mane to start. To be honest, me and Ricky have different opinions on obviously who we're going to start. But I genuinely think Jurgen Klopp should go full strength and try and win this game because I still have that little bit of belief that 5 points is always catchable for that top four race. There's still 27 points to play for this season. So if you're looking at that logic, I do expect Klopp to go strong. But of course, if we don't get a result, it's going to be very, very difficult for the remainder of the season. So hopefully a strong side for tomorrow.
Yeah. Bargav, go on. What would you like to see for as a lineup for Arsenal?
As a lineup for Arsenal, I mean, all right. So Tierney, Louise, probably going to be Gabriel.
So
and
that'd be 2-6.
And then also, I think I don't know if we will play Bellerin. It depends. I mean, that's going to be interesting on that side. I don't see us playing him. The midfield's probably going to be Xhaka and Partey, and then it's going to probably be Saka, Alba, and I'm hoping Willian plays tomorrow actually because I think he'll be good on that side. I'm actually, but a lot of Arsenal fans would disagree. They like Pepe a lot better, but.
Don't worry, we're hoping Willian plays too as well. Don't worry, we're hoping.
hey, actually, Willian's interesting because it depends on the game. On certain games, he's actually pretty good. The left hand side for both teams, I think whoever wins that is going to be kind of interesting because Tierney, a lot of our creativity comes down the left side. With Tierney bombing forward, getting the overlaps in, and then whatnot. With Willian, when Willian plays on that side, he kind of gets Tierney the ball and can he has a lot. He's our leading assists. He has the leading assists in our team this year, so it works pretty well. as far as your side, how's your left hand side this year? To ask with like Robertson.
I mean, Andy Robertson's, of course, Andy Robertson. He's not had the best season, of course, because of the problems we've always had this year. But of course, like Andy Robertson is one of our major threats going forward for Liverpool in any game.
Right.
If Sadio Mane starts, I do expect Robertson to be sort of bombing forwards and trying to create chances for the front three. I mean, it's going to be difficult because I'm hoping it's going to be more on the other side. I think Trent is going to be one of our main talking points of this game tomorrow. Mo Salah hopefully just keeps his goal record going at the moment. So it's going to be tough. I do agree with you. Maybe on the left hand side for both teams is where it's going to be sort of looked at more. But I personally think this is a game for Trent Alexander-Arnold tomorrow. I see why. He should be getting selected in that England squad for, there's obviously loads of talk saying why he's not been in the England team. And hopefully tomorrow, for our sake, he shows why. But yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of, I don't think Arsenal are going to sit back and defend. I do think at times they're going to try and, get forward down that left side, and Tierney's going to, want to stake a claim. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Yeah,
that's the problem with our team is like most of our creativity comes down that side. And then Saka does get going, but recently the last couple of games he's been a little bit out of form. So in that sense, and then Pepe plays every once in a while, but it all depends on his explosion. And sometimes Arteta doesn't trust him as much. So it's going to be interesting, definitely with that. The midfield, I think it's going to be a stalemate as usual. Our midfield, for some reason, like even when we played Man United, it was a stalemate, and it's kind of determined on the wings. Most of the games, like in the top six, has always been determined by the wings, and that's where I think majority of the game is going to be decided. That's pretty much what I think. What do you think about that, Steve?
Liverpool have always been known. Their main obviously threat is with Arnold and Robertson down the wings. We know that, right? That's how they've been able to have the success they've had. So I think it's more nullifying that threat with Liverpool that stops their creativity. The midfield battle, I do think they'll dominate probably more because even with Partey, it's going to be a struggle to break and dominate their midfield with, especially if we've got Fabinho, Ronaldo, and Thiago in there. And for me, I'd like to see my actual line. I'd like to see is obviously Lennon goal, Cedric on the right. Bellerin on the right because we got Thursday coming up, right? And if Arteta wants to save his skin, he needs to win Europa League. I still would be Arteta out even if he did, because the season's been so shocking. It's for me not good enough. And I watched my team in the Champions League. I didn't want to win the Europa League with a new manager. So I would have Bellerin on the right, Gabriel and Luiz, then Tierney on the left, El Neni and Partey, Saka on the right, Martinelli, Willian on the left, Smith Rowe in the middle, and Lacazette up front. Because then I can try and save the best players for the Europa League game, because that's more important, I think, for Arsenal in a minute. That's pretty much what's left for us in the Champions League. I mean, Chambers might even get no Chambers. Yeah. No, we're not doing Chambers again.
I think he did all right against West Ham, to be fair.
Yeah, the second half he did all right.
The second was all right, but the first half. Don't even mention about the first half.
So for everybody that talks about Willian, right? Like, the reason I think he plays in these sorts of games is like when we played like Man United, for example, he did a decent, he did like a decent job in containing like Rashford. So like he's like that shutdown winger in some ways. So you put him on to kind of limit what you guys are gonna do. So that's why I think like Arteta starts him, but our fans absolutely hate him because they have a fair criticism in the fact that you sign this guy, they wanted him like getting off the mark like really quickly. Coming from London, it just didn't pan out that way. Adaptation time, and like they didn't want to give him time in that regard. So for this game, though, I think like he plays just to like limit what happens on that side, winger wise. So, but our fans are definitely split over that issue. 100%. You probably seen it all over Twitter, like the Willian slander.
Do you guys want to open this up to the panel just for a few questions before we wrap this up? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll put the link in the chat then. So if any guys want to come on and ask a particular question to the panel, you can do. Whatever the.
What do you guys expect to happen with Real Madrid, though?
I think we absolutely annihilate them. I do not think they're that good.
Real Madrid are not the same team. They're not the same team of old. They've never been the same team since Cristiano Ronaldo left, to be honest. I feel Liverpool could easily wipe this. I'll be surprised if Liverpool don't, to be honest. But it's like I said, never write Liverpool off.
Yeah, I'm fully with Ricky on that one, to be honest. I do think we win this game quite comfortably, to be honest, if we play the way we should play. As I mentioned before, players in the right positions. I mean, a lot of people do forget this season. I know we've had defensive problems, but we have played centre midfielders at centre back all season long. Yeah. Fabinho for me has been our player of the season. He's just been an absolute revelation at centre back and centre midfield this season. And also, like the likes of Henderson's had to do a shift in there. We've had to call in under 23s to come in at centre back, likes of Reece Williams, and we've had to call in Ozan Kabak, who's had an awful season for Schalke, just to try and save us maybe getting in that top 4 this year. So it's a difficult one, but like for the league. But regarding Champions League, I expect us to beat Real Madrid quite comfortably over the 2 legs.
Yeah, definitely. We've got Charlie, who's got his own YouTube channel. He's 40 years old. He's a Man City fan. He's got his own channel, Dugout Daily, that's going to be started up. So go big up to him. Go subscribe to him. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm not doing too bad. What do you want to ask, mate?
For both sets of fans, I just wanted to know what your best memory of supporting your respective club is.
Oh, that's a good one. We'll start with Ricky. What's your best moment?
There's been a few, but I think the top. Yeah, Premier League title has got to be. It's definitely number one. But if I'm going to say a close second, it's going to be always when Gerrard hit that shot against Olympiacos that got us through the group stage to win the Champions League that year. Like, just unbelievable. When I'm watching it at home, just TV remote run up in the air, drinks run up in the air. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, Williams apparently Ramos is out for a month. William he's just doing this. Edu a favour. Come into. Didn't really want to play. He said I didn't want to come to Arsenal. I wanted to stay at Chelsea. Yet we still buy him. It's a good one. That is. Rodrigo, Junior are both Brazilian. Dan James, big up Charlie lad. Yeah, Luke, what's your best memory?
I mean, as Ricky said, like the league title will always be the best. Champions Leagues, of course. But you know what? For me, if I had to pick something different, I mean, one of the best of memories I've had was when we beat United 2-0 a couple of years ago, when Salah scored that second goal. Obviously, yourself as a Man City fan, you know how important it is when you score that goal. It's like, you're going to win the league. Aguero won the title for you at that late stage. I know it wasn't the same context, but when Salah scored that goal, it was like, this is actually happening. Like, we're going to win the league. And that feeling just around being a Liverpool supporter then was just like, me and Ricky were just messaging each other every day, like, it's coming. The league title's coming. Like 3 more points.
Another feeling.
And it's like, it's one of the best feelings to have as a football supporter. And I've supported this team for over 20 years. And it's like, by far, the Premier League title is the best feeling I've had as a supporter of Liverpool. So
yeah, I feel for me, I get that feeling. If I was going to pick up, obviously, I think the feeling of don't get me wrong. I would rather have lost the game and won the Champions League with it in that the 04 season. But being 10 years old at school and watching and being unbeaten for a season, right? That is one of the most coolest memories ever. Is you get to walk around like, yeah, we're unbeaten. You can't touch me. Like, come at me. Right? You could go away. Right? Sit down. Like, bow down. Like, but if you're going to pick a particular moment, when we won the league at Old Trafford, and I'd say not even the one against Tottenham, because we should have won 2-0, but we drawed that game. Right? And we've done it before. But at Old Trafford, the fact that we did it at Alex Ferguson's Man United ground, the look on his face at the end. I've got the DVD after it. It's a picture.
Listen, we were celebrating with you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, but I'll go quickly your memory, mate. As I bring Talk Man U in as well.
Yeah, that's it. I felt my ears burning, mate. I was like, yeah, what's going on here? I'm having you talking about me, like behind my back.
The Bargab, what are you gonna go for, mate?
So you have to. So here's the thing. I've been a fan for 15 years, but I am starving for a title, man. It's gonna be like
an FA Cup. What are you worrying about?
That doesn't count. Like I want like one of the big trophies.
That's an insult to the FA Cup. You can't.
I know, but like I want to see one of those really big ones. The FA Cups for sure, but those Champions League games are probably some of my best memories. I mean, us going toe to toe against Barcelona, like those. There's a lot of those. Like a lot of those games were like amazing. Even like the 4-4. I have to throw this one in there. That 4-4 Liverpool game, where Arshavin scores 4 goals. I mean, that was a really good memory. There's a ton of them. But I would say like definitely it has to be like I think it was like 15-16. We escaped somehow and made it into the group stage, but we in the Champions League. That was a really thrilling like group stage for Arsenal. It was like 15-16. It was like one of the years like we barely made it out, and
that was the season. I think that was just,
there was one season like
the season before. I think it was the season before because I was listening to it whilst being a pool team captain at a pool club, so I was trying to listen to it. So yeah, I think it was 14-15 to be honest.
The FA Cup, FA Cup win against Chelsea is probably the best like Arsenal. Arsenal.
What, this season or the season before?
No, it's like 16-17, I think.
Oh yeah, because they were champions at the time.
Yeah, they were champions.
Okay.
That was like one of the best memories.
Yeah, I've got to say that's a brilliant question, Charlie. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, we'll definitely have you on for banter with the rivals later.
Definitely, mate. I can't wait.
It is. Yeah, it's later because I want to watch. I want to watch Claude the Bances at 7. With their tribute to Claude. As everyone knows on this channel, Claude is very highly here. We wouldn't be where we are, and we wouldn't made the money we raised if it weren't for the Bances, but without Claude and him supporting us from the start. So he holds a very special place on SFeatleyTV in our hearts, and he'll never be forgotten on this channel and for his contribution. Absolutely not. I've never known him personally, but just a year of knowing him just shows the love the man had. It's the most views. I would say it's the most. I'm not care about how much views it made, that tribute that we did, but it's the most views. Even the 8-hour stream had less views than that, which shows the level of the love that man had for this community, from this community. So yeah, and hopefully now he's looking up and having a chat with Charlie George, having a chat with some of the legends like David Rocastle, because it was Rocastle. Sorry, it was only yesterday that it's been 20 years since his passing as well. So he's probably having a good chat with David Rocky Rocastle. So that's the best way we can say it. But yeah, Talk Man U. Yeah, but thanks, Charlie. We'll have you back.
Cheers. I'll see you in a bit, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Talk Man U, what do you want to ask? And then we'll wrap this up if no one's come back on.
I just wanted to make the point about the top 4 push, for Liverpool, because I mean, in my opinion, they've got a point to prove. You know, you can't go winning and playing like you have been for all them seasons. Like, what was it, 3 seasons, winning what you've won. You get the injury to Van Dijk. Obviously, that was when I put that comment in about the confidence issue around that injury. It was massive because the type of football Liverpool play, the way they play it all relies on being confident in the ability of your teammates around you to be able to do their job and make sure that, you know, they do it like to the best of their ability, and it aids what you do in your job, in your role. And when you take an element of that away, it's like, whoa, shit, wait a minute. All right. It's going to affect you because, you know, it's a massive thing. So, but I still think that Liverpool have got big points to prove. And this Arsenal game, I can't see it. I can't see Arsenal winning it. I just can't. Not the last game when we watched Arsenal. What was you saying? Well, let go of the ball, pass the ball. They're holding on to it. It's like it's worth, you know, like it's just crazy. And Liverpool, if you try and do that against Liverpool, forget it. You know what Liverpool are going to do. It once if Liverpool do lose possession and Arsenal try and create something, then forget it. They're going to just go in and get the ball, and that's it.
So,
Bang.
yeah. So, what was the question you were going to ask?
About the top 4, can they get to the? Can they get top 4?
Can they get top 4? So, yeah. What do you think, Ricky? You think you're going to catch Man United and outdo them? Yeah.
I think we get top 4 if we're serious about it. I think Leicester will be the one to drop out.
Yeah.
But I just think the Champions League is massive. Liverpool want that Champions League. They want number 7. I think they're going to go all out for that. And you win that, you get Champions League anyway. Yeah. So the top 4 will be a push. If we beat Arsenal tomorrow, could be interesting. The last sort of month and a half. I just think we're going to go all out for the Champions League and just long the top 4 off.
Yeah, Luke.
I still think there's a chance. I really do. I know Rick doesn't, but I do believe that I've seen some of the run-ins for certain games, apart from this game. That's a difficult game for us, but teams around that top 4 area, if you disinclude the Manchester clubs, because they're obviously going to be there next season, but I think teams around have always got difficult games. They've got to play each other. There's obviously going to be a lot of other, twists and turns along the way. So we'll see what happens. But I do think Liverpool, they might be able to get in that top 4 still this season. So hopefully some games, they'll pick up some results and we'll see from there. But obviously as a Man United fan, I'm guessing you want Liverpool to miss out and obviously not win the Champions League, of course.
No, mate, no, not at all. I mean, I think, I've got great respect for Liverpool, what they've achieved at the club, because a bit like Man United, we've never really. I had this argument with somebody the other day about the money thing, and we've never really had like the kind of money on the scales that we're talking about now, never of Liverpool. So, it's you do things the hard way and you win through being great. So that's the way I see it. You know what I mean?
We had that. I mean, when we won the title last season, it was that we knew how to win games ugly, and it's like Man United done it for years. Right. Man United done it for years. Like the mid '90s, like late '90s, early 2000s. They knew sort of like how to win games. Champions mentality to win 1-0, 2-1. They didn't have to play well, but we learned that last season. This season, we was a bit lucky at the start of the season because when Van Dijk was out, we was gradually sort of grinding results out. But that one defeat against Burnley, to end that home run, that mentality sort of left us for this season. I do expect Liverpool to push on next season and be back where we should be. But no, I mean, as you mentioned before, like you've got to look at Man United that era and give them credit, and you've got to look at that's what probably Liverpool are doing now. Man City have done, Chelsea have done, Arsenal have done it at times when they were at the top. So yeah, everyone has their sort of swings and turns, but hopefully Liverpool next season should be back where they belong, sort of fighting for the title and other trophies, hopefully.
I guess quickly, can I ask one question? Quickly, can I ask one question? Just one question.
Yeah, one question and good.
So, in the transfer market, what positions are you guys looking to bring in? That's all. Like
centre forward.
Yeah, striker. And a goal scoring midfielder, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to
yeah.
hopefully the defender sorted out with Konate, but yeah, probably
Yeah.
that sort of area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in. Make sure you hit the like button, right? Smash.
Really helps us out. Thanks.
Oh,
That's
Go
great.
and smash the like button, right? Go hit the subscribe button. Go check out the 1892 Reds podcast, right? Go and check them out. Go and subscribe. The link's in the chat. It's in the chat. Not in the chat. It's in the video description. Go and subscribe to them now. Go subscribe to Talk Man News, My Football Romance, and also Charlie's channel is just on there, Dugout Daily. Right, big up to Bargav as usual in the building. Right, just a couple more comments. Man, you have got Ollie at the wheel, so waiting for the crash. Arsenal will win. They will never lost on fourth. I hope that's a good. That's true. But yeah, thanks to everyone that's tuned in. Right, big ups to you all, and you can catch me. You can catch me on Banter the Rivals. I don't know. Are you guys free at 8:30 in the evening? Ricky and Luke?
We've got one at 8 o'clock, but I mean after that we could be. I mean, if you send us a link, then we might be able to join in.
It's literally like an open session, and it's like Banter the Rivals. You can banter each other for a session on Friday night. So
send us a link through to the Twitter page, and we're doing our we're doing our preview at 7 tonight for us. So I think after that we should be okay.
Yeah, definitely. We'll sort that out, and I'll send you the links for that. But yeah, as to everyone else, it will be an open session, and we'll rotate as if there's other people that want to come in, and do come and check that out because it's a fun session. It's what you want on a Friday night at the start of the weekend. But thanks to everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and you can catch me later on this evening at 8:30. Take care. Bye, and good for Friday and happy Easter to you all.
ciao.